see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining in.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 883 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee is strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's April 13th, 2026. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of light Honduran from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10. That's LOTS10, and shipping is always free. While you're there, check out the C4 Club for even more awesome perks. I was checking out the Food Forest Farms website this morning, and it's looking good. So head on over there and check it out. Today we've got a packed show. First metal finally going on the cabin. Progress getting derailed by actual cannon fire this weekend. Testing out the new weed eater and blade attachments, plus odds and ends from the week. So grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mike's Homestead. Thanks for popping in, and Rewilder Life. Good morning to you. Glad to have you here. Oh, it's Monday, guys. It's a well-rested Monday today compared to last week. Last week when I did the show, if you remember, we were awakened in the middle of the night by a fire next door. No news on that. No news on that. It pretty crispified their. I don't know if that's word, crispified. It made the carport there. They had a metal carport. It's kind of still standing because obviously it's metal, and it wasn't hot enough to melt the whole metal carport. But truck inside was pretty roasted, and another truck next to it, and it looked like they had a lot of cleanup to do from the shed stuff behind. But no update from them on how it started or if there was an investigation or anything like that. But nobody was injured, so that was good. But this week got to bed a little early last night and slept really well, so nice and rested this morning. So still need a little bit of that go juice from foodforestfarms.com, this light Honduran, and I'm just about done with this pound. It's great. Not ever one of the ones that pop to mind when I try to think about which beans are my favorite from Food Forest Farms. I usually gravitate towards the FTO Blonde Espresso, the GSD blend, or something like that. But this Honduran it's nice and clean and crisp, and Brian roasts it right. So check that out over there at foodforestfarms.com. So busy week. We'll talk about the cabin progress that we've made this week, and a few other things along the way. But before that, let's get headed into that Bitcoin guessing game. You can see Bitcoin just went down. We got the red light over my shoulder if you're watching the video. It's been green this morning quite a bit when I was sitting here prepping for the show, but right now at 6:05 on April 13th, 2026, Bitcoin price is $70,717. $70,717 for the Bitcoin price on April 13th, 2026. Head on over to the guesses in the Bitcoin guessing game contest. You can see mine up there. It's been there for quite a while. I've committed to that price guess for every week until the price goes over that at 72,654. Might have peaked over that this week at some point, but not right now. We're way down to 70. Take a look at some of the guesses from this week. Some of them were way off, and then a bunch there bunched right around pretty close. So Pip in early, way down. He thought Bitcoin was going to have a bad week. He said $64,792.86. Sorry, Pip. On the other extreme, we had Canadian Farmstead guessing 84,900. He must have thought that Iran war was going to just send Bitcoin to the moon, or maybe it was the Artemis space mission. Rewilder Life with a guess is 68,700. Not bad. John Palmer, 76,543. Scrambling in with a guess of 74,500. Blueberry, Texas, 72,500. Not bad guesses all around. Bitcoin's been kind of unpredictable. Well, unfortunately predictable of flatlining and not bouncing around a whole lot. So any of those guesses in that general area were good. But Chris Dixon coming in with the win. Man, that guy's been on a tear with the Bitcoin guessing game contest. I might actually have to send him a prize just because he's been doing so well. But Chris Dixon in with the guess of 70,890. Man, only less than $200 off. So congratulations again, Chris Dixon, with that win. Unless, of course, he sometimes guesses in Canadian dollars. He didn't specify this week, so we're going to say this must have been USD, because I don't think the price would have dropped that much if this was a Canadian dollars. Wait, is that backwards? The conversion. But congratulations, Chris Dixon. If you'd like to get in on the Bitcoin guessing game and throw a guess in, you can head over to the Telegram chat at t.me/lotschat. That's t.me/lotschat. Every week I'll pin a post on Monday morning after the show is done with the results of this week and start the guessing off for next week. All you got to do is reply to that post and we'll get you in and talk about it next Monday morning. So see you again on April 20th, 2026 for the next round of the Bitcoin guessing game. Metal. Metal. It's been a week of metal for the cabin progress. Last week I was talking about, I went and got the metal on Monday. Our order had gotten messed up. So come down to it, it really doesn't matter, but they didn't know if they weren't sure if the order was put in wrong, if the company sent the wrong order. It sounds like the manufacturer of the metal, or the processor, or whatever you want to call them, middleman, the people that bend it and cut it and ship it out. Sounds like they've been having some issues with their manufacturing, with their order fulfilling. So probably a mistake on their end. If it was a mistake on the building supply company that we're going through, it is what it is. They rectified the situation, had to wait a few extra days to get the metal. Came in. We had busy weekend last weekend, so I ended up running over and getting it on Monday. Trailer worked great. So the trailer we picked up a couple months ago, I don't know if it's a couple months ago now, but a while back, picked up a car hauler trailer for specifically this purpose. We knew it was going to be for more than this, but really transporting the metal was the catalyst that spurred us to buy the trailer, because delivery was going to be a shit show basically. And it's just nice to have something to be able to haul around longer and heavier supplies. So had the trailer had been sitting here for a while. Monday after the show, I got everything processed and put up there and went to go grab the metal. Didn't know how it was going to go. Hadn't pulled the trailer up to the property. I was pretty confident that with the way the driveway's been graded out at the top and everything, and the road was looking pretty good. I didn't think I'd have any issues getting it up there and getting it backed into a spot. So started walking around the trailer, kind of doing a look around before I took off, make sure everything was good, and had some low tires. And so wasn't sure necessarily if they had gotten lower, if they were low when we bought it, like if the guy that sold it to us just kept them at a lower PSI. But one of them was really low, like flat low. Couldn't really tell because it's dual axle trailer and the other tire was holding it up. So it wasn't like you go out to your car and it's sitting on the rim. This was kind of just soft. So I'm glad I went around and kicked the tires and stuff before I took off. Got it aired up, held air fine. Got them all aired up around. Checked the lights and everything, took off. Loaded the metal at the metal shop. Went super smooth. Trailer pulled great. headed up to the property, got up to our cabin, and really easily backed her up. There was plenty of room to pull up far enough to the cabin to back it up into the spot that I was hoping to put it. It's kind of off out of the way of the driveway, so we can still turn the truck around and whatnot. After I parked it, I kind of was wondering how I'm going to get it out of there. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to like pull it out, back it down the driveway. If I'm going to have to kind of blaze some trails and go kind of off-roading through the woods to get it out of there. I'm not really sure, but it is where it's at for right now. And it's got the metal on top of it. So I'm not really going to use it anyway. But that was good. Got that all taken care of on Monday. And then just normal week until Thursday. Corey had Thursday off. We headed out. Started unpackaging the metal and wanted to get a start. So the way we're doing our colors and our metal on the outside of the cabin, I might have explained it before, but basically the top, the cabin sits up on the posts about 4 foot. So we decided that we wanted to do kind of a wainscot bottom, so a bottom color, and then a lighter color on top, where the kind of the floor level is in the cabin. And so we wanted to get that level, get that line level across around to set the top metal, because the plan is to keep the bottom open to work on utilities, to have access to be able to get under there if we're going to do insulation, or we're going to have a spray foam guy do insulation, just easier access leaving that open. Normally from the videos I'm watching, so I'm learning all of this on the fly, learning how to do metal, learning all the techniques and the different things to do, how to do the trim, how to do this, that, and everything. I've never really done it before. Traditionally you would install the wainscot, the bottom metal first, and then install the trim that goes in between them. It's called Z channel. It looks like a Z. And it kind of caps off the bottom metal, and the top metal sets on top. Normally you would put the bottom metal on, then put the trim on, and then put the top metal on. But since we're holding off on the bottom metal and we wanted to get that top dried in, we went ahead and put the middle trim around all the way. And eventually when we want to put the metal on the bottom, we'll be able to kind of slide it in underneath and attach it. And it should work out fine. We'll find out. But Corey and I went out. We kind of guessed on where we wanted that to be, with the lengths of metal pre-cut for the sidewalls and for the end walls and everything. We had to be kind of particular where we were going to put it. And turns out on Saturday or Sunday, when we went out and started doing the sidewalls, we were pretty close. we were close to being a little too low, but it worked out. When we were looking at it and trying to decide where we wanted, because we had such a long run to do and we were going to try to keep it level. The cabin, we weren't sure if the cabin was exactly level to the ground, or how it was going to go when we picked a point and went level from there. If we were going to be able to, if we were going to run out of room on the board that we were attaching it to. Not sure if that really makes sense verbally, but yeah, just trying to level it with a 4 foot level. We didn't have a laser level that was strong enough to kind of use during the day. I guess if I had gone out at dusk and done it, it would probably work fine, but didn't have a strong enough laser level to run a line in the middle of the day. So we were just using a 4 foot level. I didn't know if that was going to run off a little bit and get too high or too low to be on the board that it needed to be attached to. So kind of went in the center of there. Turned out fine yesterday when we went to put the metal on. Hopefully the same is true when we go to do the end wall. But both side walls are the same, and the metal is cut to the same length. So that worked out well. We did have to trim off. I don't know. We were trimming off like an inch to an inch and a half. So we're pretty cutting it pretty close there. Got that first metal installed yesterday. The one 10-foot section. We started on the section with no windows. We just wanted to get a feel for getting the metal up, putting the girts up, getting everything kind of dialed in. And it's the corner of the cabin. It took some advice from a friend of ours that's just done a bunch of metal on their house and barn and things. They said start where you're probably going to least likely to see it, because you probably will fuck up. And I did a couple times. A couple things we've learned already from putting the metal up is mark out where the screw holes are so they're actually in line. Started out really well, kind of had them in line, and then veered off a little bit. And once I saw how it was going, we started marking the holes and measuring them out where they wanted to be. The metal guy on YouTube, the barn builder on YouTube I've been watching, actually suggests pre-punching the holes with an awl. And I didn't, we don't have a setup to do that, but he said it is a lifesaver, and I can really see why. But we just ended up go ahead and measured them out and mark them on the next couple of panels, and it worked out well. So going forward, everything should be pretty much in line, because we'll go ahead and mark those out and not guess where they're supposed to be, or kind of eyeball it and try to eyeball where it is in line. Because even if you just start to go a little bit off and it just continues to fade off and either go up or down, it didn't look really good. It's one of those things that it'll probably be something that I will notice all the time and no one else will notice ever. So maybe somebody will. And anybody that listens to the show and comes out, I'm sure it'll be enough of a smart ass to go and find it and point it out. Good morning, Hunter. Thanks for stopping in. So we learned that we got that little section done, and then we're going to move on to trying to trim out the doors and the windows. Our plans are to do that in the porch area, where we can work at. Hunter says, what type of fastener are you using for metal? They're self-tapping. They're like 1.5 inch self-tapping screws that go through the metal into the girts. So screws provided by the metal company. They're actually designed for this. So they got the little rubber gasket on them. Basically, with the little washer, you got it. So can't smash the little washer too much. Can't need to compress it enough, but not smash it too much. So they are color matched to the metal. Came from the supplier. So next it was, the idea was to work on the porch, the covered porch. So we got a window and a door, which is both things we have to figure out how to trim. When we got there and started kind of messing around with putting the girts up around the door and the window and really looking at it, decided that the trim that we had got, so I picked up J channel, which is the traditional trim to go around window, and from eyeballing it before we ordered, it looked like that was going to work. And it might, I'm not sure. Corey and I looked at it and went back and forth with it yesterday. Decided that it isn't going to work. What happened is, when we were getting ready to install the windows, I had two options. I could install the windows to the framing that we were putting in between our posts, and then after the fact put the wall girts that the metal attaches to and the trim attaches to, and a frame around the window and everything else, so the window sits kind of back a little further. making the inside less deep. So right now we have 5.5-inch walls using 2x6s, and the window sits kind of not all the way in. So the window sills are pretty big on the inside. It's going to be a lot of custom finishing on the inside. My concern, and I was trying to go back and find my notes or remember all the reasons I used to decide to put the windows against the frame instead of installing the girts and framing it out and putting the window outside that, and then the metal coming up to the window. I remember struggling with it, and I remember both options being acceptable. I remember both options, finding both options when I was looking it up, and there were pros and cons to both. And I settled with the way we did it. And getting to this point where we're doing the trim, I really wish I hadn't. I really wish I had gone the other direction. It's just going to make it harder. Maybe. I think once I get the right trim, which is going to be an interesting conversation with the metal guy. I'm going to see if they will let me return the J trim and order some custom stuff that we determined would be the appropriate stuff. If that happens, I think it'll be really easy. I think it'll work out really nice. If they won't take back the J trim that we had, I really feel like I can't waste the money and not use it. So we've come up with another option of ordering another style of trim kind of to do two pieces together. And we're hoping that that'll work out. So I'm going to have that conversation with the metal guy today. But basically the metal is going to sit outside the frame of the window. So we have some got to cover some other shit. And it's just going to be a pain in the ass. And so I don't know. I was beating myself up yesterday on why I chose to do it the way I did, and at some point I just gave up and said, I made the decision because I did, and it's done. So I just have to deal with it now because I'm definitely not pulling out all the windows and redoing it. So it is what it is, and we'll get it finished, and it will look fine in the end. But just a bunch of monkey fucking around at this point, and costing a little extra money to finish it out. So we'll see how it goes. But we got one section done. Really did some brainstorming on how we want to finish out the ceiling in the covered porch and the walls there. We got some stuff to mess around with. One thing is there isn't a whole lot of, there is a whole lot of metal content out there. There isn't a whole lot of good metal content out there on how to do pole barns. There's a lot of shoddy stuff. I have found a couple channels that I really like, that give a lot of good techniques, but then when you transfer it to what we're doing is a lot of custom stuff. Like, no one's making videos, and it really wouldn't be, I don't think, beneficial for me to make videos because A, I'm not very fucking good at it yet, and I'm doing it once and being done with it, and B, I don't know how many people are out there doing what we're doing, building their own stuff like this and doing it in the way we're doing it. So it's kind of like a one-off project, and just figuring it out as we go. Adapting and figuring out and using techniques that I can find for our other purposes and transferring them to our project. So it's in the works, and hopefully goes smooth as we go. Let's see. Did get a new tool, helped with cutting the metal. Cutting the metal to length. So if you've seen pole barn metal, it's got ridges that run vertically. We're cutting it to length, so we're cutting across those ridges. They're 3 foot, just over 3 foot wide. I've been using hand shears, picked up some trim shears, and actually had a nice pair of metal shears from a company that sent them out. I didn't grab a link for that large pair of shears. I don't think I have it over here. Let me see if I still have it pulled up. Metal shears were working good. They're just an offset pair of metal shears. I don't have it up here, but anyway, that's been working easy. But for the lengthwise, we had one piece we had to trim off. So metal being 3 foot wide, our section that we were working on was 10 foot wide. So we had to do 3 pieces and then cut lengthwise. And it would have been about 9.5 feet. And it was for doing those cuts, I really didn't feel like trying to do those by hand. It's hard to get the metal to separate. It's hard to get to keep the shears moving forward. So I did go ahead and buy some metal shears off Amazon. I went with a cheap plug-in electric set from Wen. They're like $43. I'll have the link in the video description and the audio description. I'll throw it in the comments right now. But if you're looking to do some metal work and you're looking for a shears, I've used it once, so I can give you a little bit of feedback. It worked well. It did what it's supposed to do. It's really kind of oversized for the metal we're using. I think the metal that we're cutting is like 29 gauge or 26 gauge or something like this. And the metal shears that I picked up really go and are good up to like 16 gauge. So little oversized, but it did cut well. Once I got the angle right on how to hold it and how to maneuver it and the way it needs to be pushed through the metal, the more I use it, I think it'll get easier to get straighter cuts, to get smoother cuts, to be able to keep it running. And eventually I'm going to end up trying to go over ridges, I believe. Hunter says, is it rollers, blades, or a nibbler? Went with the dual blades. Looks like a V, and it's got one blade that comes up, and it kicks out like a 1/4 inch ribbon. So basically a dual blade with one moving part in the middle that kind of flips up and down, and it works well. I did look into a couple of different styles. The nibblers that kind of poke a hole, a bunch of holes in a row, and that's how it cuts. And this is more of a shear that cuts the two and puts out that strip, which allows the tool to move through and not get bound up. So it worked well for the first time. It was kind of nerve-wracking because when Corey and I were counting out the metal, realized I didn't give myself any leeway on what we ordered. We ordered the right amount of pieces to do the job, and if I fucked it up, it was we're going to be ordering more metal, and so it was kind of a clenched ass moment when put that shear in there at the first time, but worked out well. It's going to be covered by trim. So I had like a 4-inch leeway on if I was kind of wobbly on the edge, and it wasn't exactly straight. I didn't even draw out a line to follow. I really just followed the edge of one of the small ribs in the metal, and it worked out all right. But I'll get better with it. Get better with the tool. We got a lot of windows to cut out and a lot of custom cutting around edges and things like that's in the future. We started with a really easy section of the cabin that had no windows, was pretty straightforward, and it went well. It went well. So on to more of that next weekend. We only got one day. Well, I guess 2 days. Thursday, Corey was off, and we did that Z trim. Friday, she was back at work, and I was out doing other things on the property. But Saturday, we were going to head out to work, but we had to stay home because of cannon fire. And you say, cannon fire? What the fuck? Yeah, we're in Tennessee, so, cannons and war and things like that. No, but anyway, about a 1/4 mile from us, once a year, they have what they call the Tennessee River Rendezvous. This is it's a get together on this guy's large property. where they get together and they play war, basically. Good morning, Digger. How's it going? Thanks for stopping in. War reenactment, basically, and we had something similar up in Minnesota that we attended a few times, which was a reenactment or a period gathering of fur traders, but it was all one time period of folks. This one, from what I understand, we haven't gone over, because of the cannon fire, and I'll tell you why in a second, but from what I understand, this is a wide range of military reenactments. So anywhere from the Civil War right up into like World War I or World War II, we get old school planes flying over, cannon fire going off all the time. You see, the first year we were here, we were sitting looking out the window, and all of a sudden there was people driving down our road with cannons on trailers, like heading over there to set up, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, they fire off a lot of cannons over there, and our big 140-pound baby, Clyde, he doesn't do very well with it. Clyde is very sensitive to thunderstorms, loud noises, and we don't blame him. We know kind of when it started was when we had the lightning hit a tree out here in front of the camper. Soon after arriving here in Tennessee, kind of lightning hit the tree and charred it down the side, and it was really loud. Really, really loud. And on top of that, we get some pretty loud banging thunderstorms here. Quite often in the river valley, the thunder just echoes, and Clyde gets a little nervous. I mean, I don't blame him. Right after we get here in a camper, that lightning strike, it made me jump. But it really bothered him, and it's stuck since then. So when a quarter mile away they're blasting off cannons, it doesn't go well for Clyde. He gets very clingy, gets very nervous, shakes, tries to hide under Corey's desk, which is, there's no room for a Great Dane under there. And we know the frequency and how much they fire these off on Saturday of the festival. Festival goes Friday and Saturday, and we made the choice to stay home and hang out with him and make him comfortable. We didn't want to leave him alone. We hung out on Friday night with some friends pretty late. We got up later in the morning. I could have probably gone out and done a little bit of stuff, but just took a day to hang out with Corey here at the camper, and also comfort Clyde because he was shaking like a leaf the whole day when the cannons would go off, and right through until bedtime when they did the closing fireworks and final cannon blasts of, it seemed like all the cannons on site ended up getting shot off about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So that was the delay, progress delay because of cannon fire. One other note from the river rendezvous, there was some scandal that I read about in the local groups. I didn't see anything about it. People in the local groups were posting a lot of the news coverage of the event. I didn't see in any of the major news coverage, but I did see some people talking about some stuff that went down, and I found it interesting. So on Friday of the river rendezvous, they have education day, I guess is what they call it. And they bring school buses full of kids out and tour it. We did similar stuff when I was in school. I imagine that some of you did similar things when you were in school, went to like history reenactment type of stuff. Well, it sounds like there was a vendor that decided to show up, and they have all sorts of vendors there. They have period vendors that are, making different items that were time period accurate. They have food trucks, which are obviously not from the Civil War up and through World War I, but they have all sorts of different vendors that sign up and are there. And there is a religious tone to a lot of things. Pretty much everything around here has somebody with a religious tone to it. And it sounds like they had someone show up that was handing out Bibles, mini Bibles, not like full leather bound Bibles or anything like that, but pocket Bible type things. And so they're handing them out to kids. And I don't think that would have been a big issue around here if they had just been your standard Bible. But it appeared that the first half of the Bible was all about how great it is to be gay. Now, I don't care if you're gay. I really could care less. But things kind of went sideways. Hunter says, get your hard tack here. Yeah. It didn't go over well. The promotion of being gay and being proud to be gay to fifth graders at the River Rendezvous, especially in the front of a Bible. So from what it sounded like, as soon as event organizers or teachers or anybody saw what was being handed out, and they posted some pictures of some of the stuff, and I was like, there's better ways to spread your message than what they were doing. But it was a backdoor into the festival. It sounds like was we just want to set up and preach and hand out Bibles, and yeah, it's interesting around here. So a little bit of controversy at the River Rendezvous, and I didn't hear much of it after the initial outrage. So I'll be interested to see if anybody brings it back up in the local Facebook groups now that the festival is over. So we will see about that and how that goes. More shit for people to argue about around here because there isn't enough of that going on. Let's see. Talked about last week. Got the new weed eater for the property, the Steel FS91. Got that with the bicycle handles, and got to take it for a ride a couple times this week. It was it's nice. That thing is nice. If you're in the market for a new string trimmer, weed eater, whatever you want to call it, definitely consider putting the extra money out there and grabbing one of the Steels. It runs beautifully. Now, like I said, I've used it a couple times. I haven't used it very much for longevity purposes. Wilder Life says, sorry, I left for a bit. We have a few dams here ready to fail. Like where you are, are you in the danger zone for the failing dams? Because I don't know if you need to hang out. I really appreciate you hanging out and watching the show, but don't put yourself in danger to do so. Anyway, haven't used it for longevity's sake on the Steel weed eater. I have used gentleman that's out there let me borrow his several times last year, and his is a little bit older, still runs like the day they got it. Rue Other Life says she's not in danger, but a few friends are. Well, hopefully your friends are all right, and hopefully the dams hold, and I'm glad that you're not in the path of any danger. But that Steel, it seems like it holds up well. I've heard reports from other people in the community that they've had them for quite a while, and they just keep ticking. The fact that I have warranty coverage locally here past 2030 makes me feel like they're going to stand behind the product. It's going to last. It runs sweet. It's balanced better than your commercial or your residential ones that you buy for a couple hundred bucks. It starts smooth. It has an auto choke feature. Basically, you put it in choke, and when you go and it is ready to not be choked after starting, it auto runs back to the run position. It's just nice and easy to use. It'll be very nice for trimming trails and doing long days of weeding out there as the growth comes in. Hunter says recommend string or blades for the trimmer. Basically, that's what I'm getting at here for a second. String worked well. The new auto feeder head that Steel has, and I don't know how new it is. I basically was looking up there any tips or tricks for loading the head with string. I don't have video. I don't have internet out there, so I wanted to be prepared and know how it all worked. If I got out there and needed to load the string, I knew the tips and tricks for doing it. From the videos I was seeing, and I didn't unfortunately I didn't look at the dates how old the videos were, but it looks like Steel changed their auto loader head at one point, or their auto feeding head for the string at some point, and it doesn't work as well as the old one. I didn't have any issue with it. It fed fine for me. Sounds like maybe it's harder to load, but watching the videos, it doesn't seem that much more difficult than any other auto feed head. They're just a pain in the ass to begin with, but this one didn't look absolutely horrible to do. Like I said, I've yet to do it. I was just using the string that came with the unit. It came loaded and it was working all right. But I was trying to clear a bunch of blackberry brambles, blackberry cane, and several of them were pretty thick, like talking like the size of your thumb or bigger. And so the string was taking quite a beating. It was working, but it was I was burning through it pretty quick. I also had ordered up on the recommendation of my friend Carrie Brown from Strong Roots Resources. He had recommended a blade for the string trimmer. Now, Steel makes their own blade. It's kind of like a triangle. Looks like a triangle, and it's got blades, and they work well. I've used them, not necessarily the Steel brand, but that style of metal blade. I've used it on other string trimmers. Carrie recommended a different type, and I'll throw a link for that in the description also, and down in the comments here. But Carrie recommended a blade that actually is a round metal blade, and on the outside, around the outside of the blade is chainsaw chain teeth. Basically, it looks like there's a chainsaw wrapped around a metal disc. And so with his recommendation, he sent me the link that I put in the chat here and in the description. A 3-pack of these blades were like $35 on Amazon. Carrie said that he got a 3-pack and it's been at least a year. I'm pretty sure he said multiple years, and he's still got one sitting on the shelf ready to go. So they are durable. They are resharpenable. You can start sharpening it with a chainsaw chain file. And man, I threw that on there, and holy crap, it is the recommendation was well received. Let me tell you. I was doing some tree trimming with it, basically. Inside all the brambles, there were some saplings that were growing up that, man, I tell you, if I had string on it, there was no way it would have happened. Like, I would have had gone around them. I would have had to come back with some loppers and cut off the trees. This went through them like it was grass. Lightly swinging this through the brambles, it no problem with those, and the saplings, and I think it says up to an inch. I would say probably bigger as long as you're conscious about slowing down and going through it slow and actually cutting it off. But with these chainsaw teeth on it, it just rips. And I was happy that I used it. I cleared a section of brambles that probably would have I probably would have ended up using a machete and pulling them out a few canes at a time if I didn't have this, and or if I tried to do it just with string and the string trimmer. I tried this and basically started up and mowed them down. Like the longer pieces, I would start kind of up higher and chop them down. And by the time they all hit the ground and I swept through them with the blade, it annihilated them, kind of mulched them all right up there. I'm going to go back through again and redo the area at the ground, probably with the blade one more time, and then maybe hit it with the string and see what happens, and see how that churns everything up, and leave that chop and drop. But the area that I'm clearing is basically going to be turned into a Comfrey production patch, and also a bunch of other probably perennials. Haven't really dialed in the list yet of what else I'm going to put in there with the Comfrey. I'm not gonna monocrop it, but it's basically a 30 by 50 patch in the woods, and I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get 100 to 120 Comfrey plants in there for root production, for biomass production, for all sorts of stuff, and then be able to also intersperse a bunch of other perennials and saleable or useful plants in that area. One last thing to do in that area is I got a big ass tree. If you're in the Telegram group, you've seen a video. I posted a video of the tree. Basically, it's I don't know, maybe 30 foot tall. I shouldn't say tall. The trunk to the tip of the top branch is probably 30 feet or more, but it's big, like arch. Yeah, it's like hanging. So I don't have to decide which direction it's going to fall. But it's kind of sketchy. I'm looking at it. I'm not real excited about trying to cut it down, but it has to come down, and safety first. I think it'll be achievable. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but just looking at it, man, it's got to be careful. Let's just put it that way. So I'm gonna get that dropped. I go to cut that all up, get it out of the way, and then get that Comfrey installed. And man, if you've been thinking about starting Comfrey, if you have an area you want to do it, if you've been thinking about growing it for root production, for biomass production, for making some salves, or using it as medicinal, you should head over to comfreyroots.com. comfreyroots.com. You can get backing 4 Comfrey root cuttings mailed to you, shipped out every Monday through the mail, and get them in the ground and start your Comfrey patch today. If you don't know the benefits of Comfrey, there's tons you can do with it, tons it's good for, and I recommend having it on every property, especially if you're in the homesteading arena. But even as an ornamental around the house, if people grow hostas and things like that, this is a very similar plant that'll grow next to the base of your house, and it'll suck up water. It will get nice and big. It'll kind of shed water off in your garden beds around the house and get nice and big like hosta, big huge leaves, and it's got a cool little purple flower that pops up if you let it get that far. So comfreyroots.com, great place to pick up your Comfrey root cuttings today. So order them up. So definitely the blade is probably going to be on the weed eater quite a bit out there on the clearing side of using the weed eater. On the trail maintenance, I'm guessing the string is going to go well. I did pick up some replacement string for it. I went with I picked up both the 0.95 and the 0.095 thickness and the 0.105 thickness, with a kind of a twisted star pattern, from my research, that twisted compressed star with the hard edges, it cuts better and it has more durability, and going with the thicker feed, or the thicker line, will last a little longer for the thicker kind of trail maintenance I have to do. So we'll see. I'll get into that a little bit more as I use them, but I pick up both, and the steel auto feed head can use both of those sizes. So we'll see. What else? Did some food forest work this week. Got down in the food forest. Carrie Brown was out last week. I mentioned that when on the show on last Monday. And we identified a bunch of plants down there, kind of walked around, and decided or talked about different ways we could manage it. And I was going to mulch. Well, we were talking about mulching, doing a thick mulch with leaf litter. Been having a tough time getting a hold of wood chips here in Tennessee, and unfortunately, I got crews. It's so frustrating. There's crews cleaning up all the down trees from our ice storm this winter. Since January, we've had trees all along the sides of the roads. Basically, any tree that fell down that was on the road or close to the edge of the road, they just went by with a chainsaw and chopped them up and just left them on the side of the road. And right now they're going around doing cleanup for that stuff, and also anything that people cut down in their yard or had come down in their yard. As long as they put it out by the road, they've been picking it up. And I'm like, wow, what a great opportunity to get wood chips. Yeah, no. Basically, they're driving around, cutting it up, and then throwing it into the truck, and then burning the stuff. They're just burning it all instead of chipping it up. So that's frustrating as I go by and see all the wood that could have possibly been used for wood chips and mulch cover and everything like that, and they're consuming it by burning it, and they're probably not even harvesting biochar out of it, which is the worst part. They're just burning it to burn it and get rid of it. Like Corey and I were talking about yesterday, though, she said it's probably a lot cheaper to burn it, and I'm guessing then it's cheaper than running a big wood chipper. But man, the amount of mulch they could have just piled up and let people have access to would have been massive from the wood cleanup that's been going on around here for the last, it's been a couple weeks now that they've been working on this. But anyway, the available resources I had out at the property is a lot of leaf litter, a lot of decomposed deadfall that it takes a little extra time, but breaking that up, it's kind of natural mulch. So I gathered a bunch of leaves. Carrie and I were possibly going to spread them out, and when we got down there, it was supposed to storm that day. It was going to rain. And so I wanted to get some info out of him and get a lot of plant ID. So we went away from spreading the mulch around. But after we walked around and kind of pointed out all the different stuff that's coming up in the food forest, both naturally and from stuff that we've planted and tried to propagate, I didn't want to really sheet mulch everything. I didn't want to lay down cardboard and thick mulch, because we have a lot of stuff coming in that we want to keep, and I don't want to choke it out. And trying to work around all of the stuff would probably be, it would be tedious, and it probably will be. And there are larger sections that I've identified that are mostly coming in with blackberry canes and stuff that we really don't want. I'll probably be able to smother that out. Obviously, around the trees, we have a comfrey plant and then can probably mulch around the trees. But there's in a lot of the open areas, there's beneficial stuff coming in, and I didn't want to choke it out. So I've kind of committed to this year, basically hand weeding, if you want to call it that, the food forest. It's about 1/5 of an acre, so it's not totally, it's not that not manageable. And I kind of went and got at it this week pretty heavy, getting a lot of the stuff that's starting and still young and hasn't really got a chance to set in for the year, pulling it out. And a lot of it just pulls out really easy. The soil down there is so fertile and so loose that a lot of the stuff just pulls out pretty easy. So I spent a lot of time down there. One day, I pretty much spent the whole day down there pulling blackberry starts and small tree starts and some of the different, I don't want to call them invasive weeds, but this stuff we don't want coming in and establishing there. But along with that, I was able to identify a list, and I posted a picture of the list over in the Telegram chat of just the stuff I got a positive ID on this past trip down there. With the lack of internet out there, it gets sketchy. It gets tough trying to learn on site. I do use an app. It's what's it called? iSeek by Naturalist. iSeek that works. It's a plant identification app. It works offline, so it don't need internet. Basically, you take a picture, or you actually don't even need to take the picture. You scan it with your phone, and it looks through its database, and it's hosted. A lot of it's hosted on your phone. Does a pretty good job. I've caught it a couple times. Good morning, Martinson family. Thanks for popping in. I've caught it a couple times with some miss IDs, so it's not something that can rely on 100%. But for one-off, trying to decide on the spot if it's a keep, if it's a keep or keep for now, and identify later, get a picture of it, and really dig in more and get a positive ID. But I was able to go around and ID quite a bit of stuff coming in, besides the trees, besides the comfrey, besides the shrubs and things that we've purposely put there and installed. But this stuff is coming in naturally. Lots of yarrow, several elderberry bushes, American beautyberry bushes, and those are starting to leaf out right now, which is exciting. If you don't know about American beautyberry, this stuff is it's a really cool plant that is a natural pest repellent. Puts out some bright purple berries that are edible. They don't have a whole lot of flavor. They got what I would explain it, if citrus had a flavor. It's not like orange or lemon or anything. If just citrus had a citrus flavor, not really strong, not a whole lot of flavor, but they're edible. They're all right. But the leaves, if you take the leaves and kind of rub them on your arm, or if you make a tincture out of the leaves, it's a natural bug repellent. Basically, really good for mosquitoes, but also good for ticks and other critters that you want to keep off you. So definitely letting a few of those bushes come in, and going to try to propagate those. We have them quite a bit on the property, but really cool plant to have out there. And when the berries are in bloom, they put on these big bunches of berries, and like I said, they're bright purple, so it looks kind of cool. Elderberry, yarrow, beautyberry. Man, I have the list in my phone. You can check it out over in the Telegram group if you want to see it over there. But excited to work down there and do it by hand this year and try to keep up. We'll see how that goes. As like right now, don't have a whole lot of trail maintenance, but as soon as we get a decent rain here, things are coming in already, and they're starting to come in fast. And we get a decent rain, I'll be covering my ass trying to keep the trails maintained and knocked down with the weed eater. So then that puts the hand weeding of the food forest. It kind of takes a backseat. Otherwise, things end up getting overgrown. So we will see. Really excited about the food forest progress. So beyond that, the people came and repossessed the shed on the property. I told you guys last week that got a new property added to the mix here out there at Delinquent Scully, and had that old dilapidated shed on it. Not dilapidated, but just trashed shed that the previous owner was foreclosed on the property. And also it appeared that they stopped paying for the shed they were converting into a cabin. And they came and got that. So that's gone. Still working on getting a plan for getting some electric out there and possibly moving our camper out there to get on site sooner than when the cabin's done. So still no update on that other than the cabin, their little shed cabin has been removed. So I was shocked. I was figuring, A, I didn't know if they were even going to come and get it. B, when they got there and saw it in the condition that it was in, wasn't sure if they were going to take it. And C, I didn't know how they were going to get it out of there. I didn't know how they got it in where they had it. And I didn't know how they were going to get it out of there, but they did, and needed to move the gate post a little bit to get it out the road, but it's gone. And I don't know, might be a blessing. Carrie and I were talking about it, and it had some janky vibes. Like when you went in there, it was trash. It would have taken a lot of work to get it cleaned up, and it was just like kind of weird being in there, like what went on here type of thing. So anyway, that's gone. Don't have to worry about it now, and we'll move forward from here. So other than that, guys, I got not a whole lot. I got a bunch of stuff to do today. I got to get a hold of the metal guy and get our new trim ordered. Hopefully they let me bring the J channel back and let me order some custom stuff, or, I'll just have to eat that and order the add-on pieces that will make it work and get that cabin dried out and move on from there. So hope you guys have a great week. And if you enjoy the show, definitely give it a share. Head on over to thelotsproject.com and use those links to start your Amazon shopping. If you're going to do any of that, head on to the Telegram group if you want to hang out during the week at t.me/lotschat. Guys, have a great week, and we will catch up with you next Monday.